And if you have, that many riders, you should be able to go all the way to the finish. And as we see, they held off from the front. They just, sat back there for a long time. But now they've committed themselves. They have to continue it all the way.
This could be a masterclass performance in team tactics by Omega Pharma Quickstep, delivering Mark Cavendish to where he needs to be, with a view of the line where he will let his legs do the talking. Unfortunately, there are others that are going to engage in the argument. One is Peter Sagan for Cannondale, and of course Andre Greipel for Lotto Belisol. His team in red, absolutely locked on, laser-like, to the back of this train. And look at the pace now, 3 kilometres to go. They're trying to put the hurt on everybody. Others will draft, though, and you can see, just look beyond on the right-hand side of the road, so left-hand side of your screen, you'll see Orica Greenedge, of course, dead centre, but Giant are trying to make amends. They feel like they're too far back at the moment, and they've got to pick up the pace. Now, whatever they add right now is going to be a deficit when we get to the finish. Big grind going on right now, and it's a big pickup by Omega Pharma Quickstep. They're hitting into it 65 kilometres per hour. This is not slow by any means, and it's going to get even quicker. Andre Greipel looks like he's slightly disturbed, dead centre, and Peter Sagan, I think he's going to play the hobo and just ride somebody else's train in a few moments' time. He's actually sticking with Greipel at the moment, dead centre of your screen. At the back of this line of Omega Pharma Quickstep boys is Mark Cavendish, and they're shouting go, go, go at the moment. Don't hold back. It'll be Tony Martin that time trials him in. 1.9 to go, Sean.
Yes, 1.9 to go, and still Omega Pharma Quickstep very much in control here, but we can see Giant Shimano, they're coming here with 5-6 riders, and they're also in a real good position. Omega Pharma Quickstep have to be really good here, because on the climb they have to be able to continue it. If they peel off and Cavendish finds himself in the top 2 or 3, it's not the position to be in. You need to have at least 4 or 5 riders in front of you on that final 400 metres from the finish.
Well, we said somebody to do a cheeky one, and so it's proving Cofidis are deciding to have their own fun. They've got their own mini train out there. Giant at the moment are keeping tabs on them, but look at how much road space we are using. Absolutely all of it, and in fact no road furniture to upset the apple cart out there. Looking for Demer, can't see him anywhere, I'm afraid. Gero, though, is very much in the frame. Simon Gerrans, the Australian champion, is latching on, and we're into the climb right now, and they are absolutely at the moment suffering. As you can see, this hurts a lot.
Yes, this is really hurting now. It's coming to the earlier slopes of the climb. We can see the riders have difficulty keeping it going, but Omega Pharma Quickstep holding on, as we can see. Rider Cancellara,
I think it is Cancellara going for a long one. He's digging deep, he's digging healthy. He may well dig himself into the yellow jersey. Who said you needed a prologue? If you're Cancellara, you've got a big engine, and he's going to use it all by himself. He's been guided into this position. He's been anonymous all day. This will be an amazing win if he manages to pull it off. But there's a sprint trains and several of them falling behind him. 800 metres to go right now. The hurt is not over until we get to the 250 mark.
No, it's the earlier part. It just kick up a little bit, and it looked like it was a bit more difficult than we have seen out there, but take it from me, the last 400 metres it does kick up that bit more, as we can see Cancellara holding on with a slim advantage.
And here come Giant in their black and white, and I don't think Cancellara is going to make this. Sagan is also here, and here comes Simon Gerrans in the centre of the screen as well. Sagan picks it up. Oh, we got a big crash, everybody. Some main contenders down there. It was Cockard, I think, as well, who was involved. Gerrans gone, and here the big pickup right now, and it's going to be Kittel. Kittel hits the front. Oh, what a shame for everybody else, and what a glory for Kittel. He takes the lead of this Tour de France, and Cav is on the deck, and he's holding his collarbone. Oh, such drama, such terrible sights to see, and what a shame. Glory for Kittel, but with a rider on the deck, and that man is Mark Cavendish. Sean, nobody said this was an easy game to play.
No, certainly not, and we can see here, Kittel just appearing again timing perfectly, just taking it up at the real good moment. And we can see Navadaskis from Garmin Sharp and also Sagan very much in contention here. And we can see here just a touch of wheels with Gerrans and Mark Cavendish. Down they go, and a number of other riders getting involved. And it looks like Cavendish suffering a bit for the moment. Hopefully no broken bones.
Well, they were leaning on each other. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Well, it's a difficult one. Alex Pinot, I think it was, for Europcar, and just sailing through both the French champion Domer and indeed Greipel. Well, Mark will get the same time, of course, as Kittel, but the worrying thing is he's holding his collarbone, and that does not look encouraging, I'm afraid.
No, not looking good at all. He seems to be holding it, and a lot of pain there. Yes, maybe just a big bash off the road, but hopefully it is that. But it's not looking nice at all from Matt Cavendish.
Well, joy for that man, but let's have a look at him coming in right now. Take nothing away from Kittel. That was a masterful piece of delivery, and he's got the yellow jersey for the time being. But what a shame, Sean, it had to have that rider today.
Yes, well, what a shame for, you know, Cavendish going down. But Kittel, you know, the position there, he just seems to be able to just take up his sprint, be in the position to take up his sprint at the right moment, winning same as last year, fourth stage in Corsica, winning again today and taking yellow jersey.
Hats off to Kittel. Sagan, Sean's choice, came close. Navadauskas for Garmin Sharp doing a good job. Kokau, Rogers the top five. Chris Froome incidentally in sixth place.
Well, it proves that Froome feeling comfortable, staying out of danger quite well, and that's what you've got to do. And of course the run in for Chris Froome is the one which should suit him, and you have to, you know, stay up there, because we've seen the dangers, you know, a crash at the wrong moment, and Chris Froome looking, you know, very strong to be able to be up there in that top position.
This is a very sad sight. Mark Cavendish, whenever you cared to ask him, would say that Harrogate was a target. Did he want it too much? You can't speculate. You just have to feel for the man. And at a moment like this, I feel so sorry for him. Well, they love him here. They expected glory, and in the end we may well have got an injury, and let's hope it's not serious enough to take him out of this Tour de France. It's not the fairy tale ending, Sean, but it has been a drama.
Yes, not at all the fairy tale ending for our British viewers. You know, Cavendish, we could see their positioning, maybe, you know, he wasn't in the best position, and just that, you know, that tightening up there, himself and Gerrans touching shoulder, and down he goes. And you know, we've seen Cavendish crash so many times at such high speeds, and coming out with nothing. There, it's not a real high speed one, but you know, just hit the ground very heavily, and it looks like his shoulder or collarbone is causing a lot of pain. Well, I was going to ask you all if you'd enjoyed that today. I certainly didn't enjoy the end. Well, it was, save for the crash. Oh, that was quite a hit on the back of the shoulder. Gerrans as well, taking a good deal of brutality from the road, I'm afraid. Wow, catch your breath time on the Tour de France, I guess. Kittel is our leader. He's in the yellow jersey. Peter Sagan finishing in second place, ahead of Navadauskas, Kokau, Michael Rogers. Chris Froome sixth today. Best placed Sky Rider did a great job. Christoph gunning late for Katusha, as predicted. Van Mark there, Rosas Hill and Albacini. A name not there, Mark Cavendish. Mark is off to the medical centre to have his shoulder checked out. Royalty are here. We're expecting to have King Cav. Unfortunately, it's a dark
moment for him. Great day, though, for Kittel. Well, I guess this is bookending. He, of course, won up the Champs-Élysées last year, and now he's opened his account on this tour, the 101st running of it. And Harrogate has a winner. His name is Kittel. Well, the crowds have been the main feature of today, save for the drama at the end, Sean. They have welcomed us. It's been a joy, actually.
Well, it has been a spectacular day. The crowds out there. You know, the racing has been good at times during the stage, and you know, we talked about that final number of kilometres with all the big sprinters, and again, Kittel just proves that, you know, he is one of the best sprinters in the world at the moment. And unfortunately for Mark Cavendish, you know, not winning is a disappointment, but looking like he's a bad injury, and that's a disastrous start if that is the case.
You look absolutely exhausted, because that was a massive effort on the
After Corsica last year, he wins the first stage of the Tour de France and wears the first yellow jersey here in Harrogate. You're watching Le Mans on Tour together with Greg LeMond live here from Harrogate. But what a dramatic finish it was, Greg, with this terrible crash. What a drama there for the main favorite, Mark Cavendish.
It was surreal, actually. I think he might have put his head into, I think it was Simon Gerrans that also went down, and it was pretty unbelievable. I think it was almost an instinctive reaction, but it was, you could tell everybody was suffering quite a bit. You had Cancellara, who did quite a good attack before, and I think it took everybody off guard. And you know, it's unfortunate that he broke. It looks like he broke his collarbone. That's what I could see.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We're still waiting for the information. We have our crews on the finish line. We're going to have soon information about Mark Cavendish's health condition. But let's review together this fall, and let's have a word about what happened. It looked like Mark was not in the ideal position there for the sprint, Greg.
Well, I'm trying to see this.
That's where, when Fabian Cancellara is up in front at 400 meters to go, and then what happens, Greg?
Actually, I think he was in a very good position. He was actually, there was somebody coming from behind him, Simon Gerrans, and I think he was in an ideal position. That last 200 meters can make up a lot of time, and that's what I think he was waiting for. On a climb like that, you have about 100 meters to really accelerate. Unfortunately, went down, and I think Kittel was coming up from behind, took advantage of the crash. It's very hard to see exactly where Kittel was relative to Mark Cavendish. This is what sprinting's all about, though. These guys are out there battling each other. It happens. It's fairly common in sprints, and these guys are like the fighters in cycling.
But Marcel Kittel showed to be the best sprinter in the world. Of course, it would have been interesting to see against Mark Cavendish, but what a teamwork by Giant Shimano to bring Marcel in such ideal position there.
Well, in theory, Marcel Kittel is a power sprinter, and this climb actually this finish would have favored him anyways. Cavendish is a little bit more he's more aerodynamic. He's a little bit better sprinter, I'd say, with a lot of speed and a lot of carrying on from a kind of a slingshot effect. But I actually felt like he was in a good position to win. It would have been very close. Unfortunately, he's not here I don't know if he's going to finish, but he wasn't able to compete at the very final in the last 100 meters really.
And once again, we're still waiting for the information concerning Mark Cavendish's condition. He touched his collarbone. There are many chances that he has broken his collarbone. Let's see and wait from our crews, from our reporters live on the finish line. Right now, we have one of the teammates of Marcel Kittel, Roy Curvers, answering to one of our reporters here on the finish lines in Harrogate. Let's listen to him.
With a happy man, Roy Curvers, the teammates with Marcel Kittel, it's a glory day for you, for your team.
Yeah, it was a hard day, but the whole day we kept cool. We knew Marcel is a big favorite when it comes to a complete bunch sprint, and it's great to finish it off again in the first stage already. So better we cannot start, huh?
Do you know what's happened in the crash?
Yeah, I did my job until 1K to go, so I came up in the last 400 meters and saw Kev lying there, and it's always a pity when the crashes happen. I hope Kev is okay and he can continue.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Great joy among the team Shinamano team. That's quite normal there, Greg. It was an outstanding job done there by the team Shimano team. Marcel Kittel wins again. How important was the role played by his teammate here today?
Oh, it's always important. I think, though, it posed a big challenge the last kilometer because it's very hard to time the team and all the riders. You could tell some teams were just, I think there's a couple riders just blew up. And so I think Cavendish's team did an excellent job all the way up to the finish. I actually thought they did the best job of leading out Cavendish. And I think there was an advantage. It looked like a headwind if you were timing it just a little bit late, which I think Kittel was doing. You know, I said that this crash happened just at a critical point to really decide who was going to be the strong finisher. But I found the stage very, I don't know what you call odd. It was very aggressive, looked very hard. I wondered if there was an issue with the crowds because the peloton came to a stop almost 50, 60 Ks to go. They really didn't start racing until the last 10 kilometers. So it was kind of an odd start for the Tour de France. Obviously, maybe it's, you know, the wind. I think the wind could have had a big effect on it.
It is the wind, it is the crowd, but definitely everything happened over this last kilometer. Among the riders that were involved in the crash, there was the French sprinter, Brian Coquard. He talks to our reporters on the finish line only a few seconds ago.
We are with a man that we didn't expect to be here, Brian Coquard. He looks very disappointed, though. Fourth in this first stage of the Tour de France. You just look really disappointed. Yes. If someone said to me this morning that I would finish fourth on this stage, I would have been delighted. But I'd have to say 250 meters to go. When I started sprinting with Simon Gerrans, I was feeling really good. Simon Gerrans fell down, and I think that's what stopped my effort, and so I'm really disappointed that I haven't been able to do better than fourth place. What happened with 250 meters to go? Well, I was on Simon Gerrans' wheel, and with 250 meters to go, I tried to go as fast as I could. He wanted to sprint at the same time as me, and he just got nudged, I think, and as a consequence went down, and I touched him, definitely. There was a crash. I don't think I was really too involved in that crash, but it certainly did slow me down, and that's what disappoints me here.
That's a very interesting point by French sprinter Brian Coquard. His handlebar crashed into Simon Gerrans' handlebar as well, and that caused the crash. We saw Simon Gerrans very close to Mark Cavendish just before the crash. So here maybe we have the reason, we have the cause of this dramatic crash.
Simon's, or is it Cavendish's
Simon Gerrans together with Brian Coquard, the handlebars crashed.
Okay.
And that's what that apparently could be the reason of the crash.
And that's maybe Mark's kind of leaning in because that was coming in. The crash already was in place. That's very interesting. That's
and here we see the pictures again where the handlebars of Simon Gerrans in yellow, here it is, and Mark Cavendish, Brian Coquard is just close to them, and that's eventually the main cause, the main reason here. Here we see even closer. That shows how dangerous is a sprint, Greg.
Well, it's good to know. I think Mark Cavendish was reacting to somebody already fallen into him, because I think it's in his hometown. You know, you can be very aggressive, and headbutting is fairly common in sprinting, but that makes sense because it was pretty dramatic, and it's part of the risk of sprinting. These guys, it's dangerous.
Now, let's have a look at the stage rankings, because it's quite interesting there. Peter Sagan took the second position. Navardoskas from Garmin took third. But look who's there on sixth position. Chris Froome is there sixth. We didn't see any Sky Rider today. We didn't see Chris at all, but he was there up front.
Well, he's where he needs to be, and that's what's really impressive about Chris's result today, is that he was there amongst the sprinters. It shows his condition's really good. I'd look out for Chris tomorrow. Tomorrow's an ideal stage for Chris to take advantage of the rest of the peloton.
And talking about Chris, we have the pleasure to welcome our first guest here on Le Monde on Tour. He just arrived here on the set. Geraint Thomas is with us. He's going to join us on the studio. Geraint, we see you there. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, Geraint. thanks a lot for coming in.
Pleasure.
Mr. Greg LeMond.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
So, Garen, first of all, let's have your word on what happened on this very last dramatic 200, 300 meters with this fall. Where were you? Did you see the crash?
I was with Froome about maybe 20, 30 back, and I saw some people leaning, and I didn't really see what happened, and then all of a sudden there's bodies on the floor, and yeah, fortunately it's managed to avoid it because we were going quite slow, obviously, with the little climb, but yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't more, to be honest. I think, you know, with a headwind finish, it always means it's a bit slower in the bunch, and everyone's always coming round, and but yeah, fortunately there wasn't too much.
Now, you know very well Mark Cavendish. I don't know if you had the time to see him on the floor, on the ground. Do you think he's badly injured? We saw him touching his collarbone. Do you have the feeling he was really suffering?
I think I didn't see him, to be honest, but with Cav, he's a hard little bike rider, you know, and if something is bad, then, you know, I think he'll know about it. If he can continue, for sure, he'll do his most too, especially being here in the UK. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I didn't see him, but hopefully, fingers crossed, him and Garrow are fine.
Now, just before you were coming in and joining us for the show, we're talking about the 6th position of Chris Froome. You made a tremendous job to bring him up there. Was that planned to bring Chris so close to the finish line in such a good position?
Maybe not 6th. I didn't know that.
He was 6th.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, well, it was all about, you know, being in a decent position going into that last sort of drag. Bernie Eisel did a great job getting him there. Then I sort of just shepherded him then, and then all of a sudden, with a K to go, he just sprints past me and starts going. I was like, oh, okay then. And then, but yeah, he's obviously in good form, and he's keen to just stay out of trouble. And yeah, so 6th is a nice little result for him, I guess.
How was the stage today? It looked like there was a lot of... What were the crowds like? It looks like it stopped the peloton a couple times. I was curious on the last 60 Ks, it seemed to kind of stop. The racing stopped.
Yeah, for a start, the crowds are just unbelievable, you know. It's like being in a disco for a few hours. Your ears are just ringing now, but...
That's good.
It's... but at the same time, I think people need to realise that we are racing and we're going fast, and, you know, give us a bit of room, you know, stay off the road. Because Bernie, he actually...
Here we see the pictures. I think it's on the second GPM of the day, Butter Tubs, with all this crowd. It was amazing, the crowd on this stage today.
It's unbelievable, and you know, for someone on their own like Yenzi there, then it's fine. But you know, when there's a group of 180 guys going, it's a bit dangerous at times. And I know Bernie actually, I think he ran into somebody, he shoulder barged somebody, and you know, knocked him onto the floor. So. Obviously, he didn't mean to do that, but, you know, it is a bit dodgy at times. For sure, come out, enjoy it, cheer, you know, fly the flag and have a really good day. But please just try and be aware of the speeds that we're doing as well.
Do you think that impacted the last... Were people conscious of the potential danger of the crowds? Was that part of maybe what was causing it? Was it just the wind?
I think it was a bit of everything, you know. Everyone knew the crowds were on the roads and narrow in the field, so everyone wants to be in front. Obviously the wind then, that added to the stress. A few dogs as well were close to running into the group, so we had everything today. But I got to say that I really enjoyed it. You know, the biggest bike race in the world coming to the UK. Degenkolb actually said to me, you know, you should be proud to be British. This is unbelievable, and sure was. It was a great day, really.
What do you think tomorrow? What's the team? I mean, I know the team strategy is always up front, going, but it seems like Chris has got an opportunity maybe to kind of set himself apart from the rest.
Yeah, I think a lot can happen tomorrow. That last climb is challenging. We did it in a recon, and I think it's one of those, a bit like San Remo style race, where a group will go and it's touch and go whether it'll come back. You know, people like, well, Garrow until today, but you know, Valverde, Rodriguez, you know, the real sort of punchy climber sort of guys can really go.
What do you think of the home Mas? I went over that in a car. I didn't ride it, but it looked like a pretty good climb for the second stage of the Tour de France. And kind of a critical point of the race, or is it towards the end?
I think so. I think it's definitely going to be a challenge. It's about 60k to go, but it's still quite big roads until about 40.
Yeah.
But I think for sure the racing will start there, and yeah, like today, just full gas and everyone wanting to be at the front.
Are you guys ready for Pavé too?
Hope
you
so.
ready?
I'm looking forward to it in a weird way, in a kind of sadistic sort of way. But yeah.
Garrett, you are one of the 4 local heroes here at the start of the Tour de France in England. Of course, you're Welsh. But let's say a word about this tomorrow stage. There are 9 classified climbs from York to Sheffield. We're going to see the profile on there. Can you tell us more about this stage for tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I've done a stage similar to this in Tour Britain a few times, and you know, from home Moss, we go over the Strines, they call it. I don't know what it's down on, and you know, these the 3rd, the 4th cap with how far is that to go? Like 40 odd K to go. It gets pretty narrow and grippy, and it's up and down. It's you know, left and right, similar to today, and they're steep as well. It's similar to sort of like an Amstel sort of race. So yeah, there's a lot going on for sure, and there's going to be a lot of stress in the old peloton.
What's
again.
that last climb is? I've heard 30. I've heard all different percentages. 30%, is that right?
Maybe at the steepest part, but it's certainly a tough berg for sure.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a good launch pad for people to have a good go on.
Looks going to be aggressive ride.
Before finishing up, because we're running late, tell us in a few words, what is your exact role here in the Team Sky for Chris Froome?
It varies from the first week to the last week, but at the moment it's to be around Chris and Richie all day, really, sheltering them from the wind, trying to keep them near the front. But mainly the second half of the race, really, myself and Bernie, that's where our jobs come in, and like today, you know, in the final, to be there and, you know, just in case anything sort of happens, punches or, you know, a little crash or whatever, really. So it's all about looking after Froome, which is kind of, it's a weird way of racing in a way. It's kind of, when you're racing for yourself, you can kind of take a few risks. You can go through gaps, which, you know, it's like truck and trailer. You got to think of the trailer behind, which Froome is. He probably won't be happy I'm referring to him as a trailer, but you know what I mean. You've always got to think you're like a big bus, you know, and you got to think about the guy behind. So,
well, of course, we wish you all the best. I'd like just to remind that this gentleman here is 2 times Olympic champion in team pursuit in 2004, 2008. He's a very much crowned rider. Thanks a lot for coming in. It was a pleasure and honor to be the first guest of the Le Mans Tour, the daily show here on Eurosport. So thanks a lot for coming in. All the best for the rest of the Tour de France. The Tour de France has just started. Greg, we will see each other tonight, of course, but tomorrow again for a new exciting show.
I can't wait for tomorrow. It's going to be a good stage.
For sure.
It's all for today. We remind you that Marcel Kittel won the first stage of the Tour de France here in Harrogate. He's the first yellow jersey of the Tour de France 2014. Marcel Kittel is happy and glorious, and see you tomorrow for a new exciting stage of the Tour de France.
So make sure you join us tomorrow for stage 2 of the 2014 Tour de France. It's York to Sheffield, 201 kilometres, 9 categorised climbs. It is certainly one of those stages for the puncher. It's been listed that you're not going to win the Tour on stage 2, but you could well lose it. Make sure you join us tomorrow for the action from stage 2.